Hello, crochet lovers. It's Caroline at For the Love of Crochet, and I have a bunch of goodies to share with you in my basket here. And I just want to start off by saying this scarf has been so much fun to wear. This is my first finished object. I actually made this last week and I forgot to show it because I had it in my closet, and it's so pretty. And I've just been in a scarf and beanie mode, but I only have this scarf to share with you this week, so we'll see what I come up with next week. I did make a few purchases on Etsy for some hats that I hope to work up in an effort to clear out my yarn stash so I can have a better access to the yarns that I need and the ones that I don't have. And that is my #1 goal this month. This is just so cozy. I took my hair out and all I did was, so I can keep it up, I just did that. And then it's off to the side. So I like it. Of course, you can keep it like this. And then you have it like that. So I just love it. It's so cozy and warm, and I'll share the yarn with you. And it's probably not even available anymore. I'm not sure, but it was Premier Serenity, and it's chunky because it was on clearance. And so you know what I found with clearance yarns? It's great to go and get and have, but what I'm finding is if I make something and I run out, there's not another one available for me to finish it. And I've run into that problem a few times, so it helps to know how much yardage you need. It's very wise. So when you do buy clearance yarn or yarn that's probably not going to be available anymore, probably have in mind what you can make with it and bundle it up and write scarf or blanket so that you know how much you'll need of it. But I doubt this is available anymore. So yes, and it's super thick and cozy, and it's just lovely. I'm loving it. So that is an MJ Hook design. She has a ton of patterns, and she's also undoing the advent calendar. And this is where I got this stocking from, which is the bobble stocking, and also the bobble mitten, which is so adorable. So this is the same designer. She has a ton of free designs on her YouTube channel, and I'll link it down below. Second thing I made, if you are new here, Craftably Ever After, another YouTube channel, sent me a Christmas gift with some yarn and some yarn challenges because she loves doing yarn challenges. And so she sent the love this way. And let's see. My first challenge was to make something based off a fairy tale with festive twist, and I can choose any fairy tale. Well, in the process, she also sent this little book, which is a Grimm. What is this called? It's part of the Brothers Grimm fairy tales, and I'm not super familiar with this. I haven't shared this with my daughter yet because I wanted to make my creation first and then read the story with her. But so this was the book she sent, but I could choose any fairy tale. But when I saw the frog, I immediately jumped to Peek-a-Pow. And this little froggy here, I had never made him before, and I just thought, oh, this is perfect. Now, she sent me yarn too. Here's the little froggy that I was making, and here he is. She sent me this lovely shimmery golden yellow with greens, and I thought about incorporating the other color for his shorts or maybe a Christmas hat, but I decided he was festive enough. This is how he turned out. I'm so glad I made him. I love that he has these little stripes. I think it suits this little frog pattern very well. It was very hard to get the safety eyes to go through this part and the other part, so I did a little hot gluing. Here is my little froggy, But I had yet to use this little baby, which was pinks and reds and that same glittery sparkle as in here. So I decided to make the princess to go with it. And so for the princess doll pattern, I went with the crochet confetti. I'll show a picture here. I made quite a few purchases from Crochet Confetti. And if you remember, I made this, the All for Fall doll, and I made her the red-headed witch. And so I decided to pick up another pattern of hers and give it another go with this yarn. And my plan was to make her hair this color. But folks, I ran into a lot of problems. If you want to eat up your yarn stash, make hair for your dolls from Crochet Confetti. So I ran out of yarn. So I still have to make another ring of hair this way because her hair is going to go like ponytails. Oops. Her hair will have ponytails like so. This is the back, and then this is the front. So I had to improvise and find another color because when I went to try and order another ball of it, it was going to turn out to be $40. I tried looking, so she'll have some festive pink hair and some regular brown hair. I still have a little bit left, and so for the part that's in the middle, I'm hoping I can at least get a few strands of this in there. So I've just run into so many problems making her because I'm running out of yarn in this particular size of yarn. And when I tried to, I was going to use this color, and I ran out of this as well. And so I was going to make a purchase at my favorite yarn shop online, which is I'll label it right here. They are out of so many colors. And what I've noticed is every time I wanted to make a purchase recently, I've noticed that they've not had a lot of these colors, and they don't seem to be replacing them. They're just all out of stock. And so this color was not in, nothing that I felt like I could use to make more hair. So I had some of this from a purchase a year ago. And so I decided, well, pink and brown really go together well, and so does red and brown. They are very complementary. So I just decided to do brown hair. So here she is. This is her body. And this pattern is very unique. The legs are done differently. So one leg has a little decoration, like she has stockings on. It has some texture on it. And then the other one is a little bit different. If I were to follow the pattern, I'm thinking I'm just going to make both her legs look the same, but based on what yarn I have to use, I'm not sure how they're going to turn out. It also requires buttons to fasten her legs. So it's a lot of different things in this pattern, but I'm very excited. So my challenge isn't finished yet, but kind of finished because I did use this one. But this is what you have to look forward to once I get enough yarn. Now, putting it down for just a few days, I had already forgot my plan for it. And so if you find that you change the colors on things and you're not actually following the pattern's colors, because in the pattern it'll say change to pink or change to color C or change to color D, I highly suggest making a coloring page of your vision for the doll. So that way, and then label it, because it will save you some time and a bag full of yarn where you could just put all the yarns together and put Okay, this is color B. This will be color C. But having a coloring page so you can change the colors on things, if you're a designer, I would love having that instead of me having to try and draw it out. Just an FYI, I would love a coloring page. Not only that, but you could get your kids or your family involved, or if you're getting a special order, you can say, find the color here, here, and here, what you'd like. So anyway, that's my little princess. My princess to go with the frog. So hopefully I can finish in time by next week, but if not, it will be fun to finish. Okay, and I showed you last week, I did take some clips of a doll I was working on, so I'm going to show you those clips real quick.
I just wanted to take a quick video of this. So this is the doll
this pattern calls for dowels, and so I want to show you a clip of that.
Here's the stick. Now the stick was too big, and I did sand this down so it's not, but because the head is going to go on, you're not going to even feel any of that. It's going to be surrounded by a bunch of stuffing. But it's right here is where it ends. So it's about the length of my index finger. Okay, I attached the stick inside with the head, and I must say that I do love it. I'm really liking the effect, and she can even turn her head a little bit, but it doesn't come off. And I'm shaking it, and she's sturdy.
This thing is getting quite warm. Okay, so here is the doll I made. I used the Dollar Tree eyelashes to put on her eyes. Instead of, the pattern had they did 2 stripes and then you put the safety eye on. So then it looks like it has, because I don't know if you notice, once you put the safety eyes in and you try to embroider maybe an eyelash, it's really hard to get in there. So they suggest doing it before you put the safety eyes on. So that's a good tip. Here's her shoes, made a match dress, and here's the back of her. Here is her bottom. She's got her undergarments. The dress fits nicely. So this was a purchase. Someone had requested this who came over and saw the doll that I had up on my shelf, and they wanted to have this type of hair because she is of mixed race and she wanted to resemble her hair. And that yarn is no longer available. I've had it for years, so it does no good to show you, but it is very shiny. And I used it on my elf doll, so I am trying to get rid of my yarn, guys. I think her hair is so beautiful. And then I didn't know how to quite do the front of her hair. In the pattern, they say to hot glue them down, but because it was going to be for a little girl and maybe she wanted to play with her hair, I left it down. Plus her hair is very, very curly. But she came out cute. Sure that I would pick this color again for the skin tone. I might go with maybe skin tones. Maybe it would come out better. So I went to Michael's, and this was a $2.50, and they are called they're those washers, but instead of getting all the different colored ones, I saw this nude looking color, and it's called Chenille Stems Cure Pipes. That's what they call them. So I got this, and they work great for her arms, so she can put her hand up, and you don't feel them in there. And then look at the head. So I'm not holding her head, and she does flop around but her head stays up. So it's not going to go like this. And then her head can turn a little because that dowel is in there. And so it's not so it can look like she's turning her head. So yeah. But I think my dowel, I purchased those at Michael's as well. And they're these little babies. And they are 4 pieces. And it just says dowels. It doesn't give a size, but it was they only had one size available. So this is what I went with. And what I ended up doing is, since it was too big, I just snapped it. But I used the smaller piece instead of this longer piece. I think I would have liked to cut it more in half, because I think this could do for just a slightly bit longer neck. I mean, support. But you don't feel it. I mean, you do kind of feel it in there. And it ends right at her waist. Right here is the end of it. And then it just goes into the head very little, very little. So that's why I think maybe if I did this again, I would use a little bit longer dowel. But I think it's kind of cute because it still stands up. I'm shaking it. And yeah, let me know what you think. Should I add a nose and maybe a line for lips? Tell me what you think in the comments. So this was a purchase. I suppose I could ask the person who bought her if she would like me to add lips, but they might not know how it would look. So maybe I'll try it and say, do you want it with lips and without lips? Maybe that's what I'll do. So I finished this little doll, and this pattern is very easy. And like I said, I learned some new things, and I just might be a fan of using dowels to not get wobble heads. And then the fact that this can be bendable is cool. So I like that. So she can hold a purse or something, or a baby. So yeah, what do you think of this little doll? I'm glad she's done. I'm glad I can give it to her in time for Christmas. But reason why I went to go get these is because I was actually thinking of using these babies. Do you know what these are? These are hair curlers. Now, they are about the same size, but it is movable, right? So I don't think that this would work for this particular doll unless I use the whole thing. Then I think it might work. And that this went all the way up into the head. I may give it a try so that I can test that for you. But these are movable and they're very soft. So there's a very thin wire in there, but it's all covered in foam. And so if you wanted it to give it to a child, then you know that it is at least more, I don't know, safer. But I like the fact that it was soft. I think it might be nice for a child. I don't know, instead of a stick. So yeah, what do you think? Have you used curlers before for to prevent wobblehead? Now, I just wanted to share one more thing with you before I move on to my whips and the next challenge. And that is that Hobby Lobby. I showcased this rat before, and it had all those beautiful fuzziness, and it was perfect for this little, oh gosh, isn't that so cool? It was perfect for this. So this yarn is not available anymore. It was clearanced out in the big yarn haul. And I made this. So when I first bought this yarn, I thought, oh, this is perfect for amigurumi because it will hide your stitches, and it's furry and so soft and stretchy and forgivable. And it's called Lush Loft, but it's no longer available. But I wanted to show you why I hadn't used it again and again. But when the rat, it was perfect. I made this from the Pika-Pow book with this yarn, and I showed this in a way old podcast, but my husband said, you know what, you should probably show that again so they know that it's not available anymore. So see how furry he is and how you don't really see the stitches? Okay, so he wanted the platypus, but in the pattern, it had the tail sticking out of his pants. And let me just tell you, I am not a fan of tails sticking out of pants for that reason. So we only show him this way. But this was the first thing that I made with that yarn. But I wanted to let you know it's no longer available, but you still can find it online from people selling it. So I think Etsy had some available, PayPal maybe had some, and it's Yarn Bee Lush Loft, if you wanted to give it a try. Also figured that this was $10 on Amazon, and I figured, well, if it doesn't work for my doll making, then my daughter could use it in her hair because she's only 9, and I could curl her hair with these because they're so soft. The dowels were like a little over $2 at Michael's as well. Okay, for the whip. I am working on getting rid of my yarn stash down there, which is all the leftover yarn, not my actual yarn stash, but my scrap. And I have made great progress on that granny ripple stitch. Oh, so when I first showed you, I had only done up until this dark blue here. And I had mentioned that I wanted the colors to change often. And look how much I've made. And I love all the different colors. I tend not to like using up a yarn ball because one section of it will be thicker than the other and the other one won't be so thick. Oh, I mean, I don't like the big blocks that you can get by maybe finishing a bigger roll rather than a smaller roll. And so I wanted to change colors every row. But in some instances, I only had like a few stitches and I ran out of yarn, which is perfect because I'm finishing up the ball. I picked a variegated yarn to throw in here and I loved it. And so it kind of blends in. So that is how it's turning out. I love it. I love it. I love a granny stitch. So I have gotten rid of a couple of balls, but I'm still working on it. Okay, on to challenge number 2. Even though I didn't finish this little baby, maybe I can do them both. So I'm ready to pick my second challenge from Cassandra. I have this yarn pack and this yarn pack. Whoops. So I'm going to go to challenge number 2. Uh-oh. Ooh, I hear something in this one. Choose one of the yarn packs. Okay, so there must be letters in here. There's letters in here. All of the letters together make up one word. Choose one of the letters to create a project based on a word that starts with the letter you have chosen. So it all makes one word, but I only have to choose one letter. I don't think you can see them in there. It's so light. I think this is an I. I'm going to assemble these and get back to you. Okay, the word spells Christmas. You're so clever, Cassandra. Okay, so the word spelled Christmas. What letter will I choose? You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to throw them in the envelope because that way I'll have to pick. Oops, dropped it. Wouldn't you know it? I chose C. C for Craftably Ever After, C for Crochet, C for Caroline, C for... Gosh. I can do a lot. So, choose one of the letters to create a project based on a word that starts with the letter you have chosen. And the crochet confetti dolls, this would work too, because it starts with C. So there you have it. That is challenge number 2. And I am going to go with, these, which is the tweed 4-weight yarn from Hobie. So these are the ones I've chosen. Okay, so I shall see you again soon. I have some video ideas coming up, hopefully in the middle of the week. But if not, you shall see me again by Sunday. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And if you're new here, I just want to say I completely appreciate you stopping by the Love of Crochet family. It has been a blessing. I have officially been on YouTube for 1 year for crochet. And I have made such good friends. And please, I love hanging out with you in the chats and the comments. I love talking with you. You can see me on Instagram. We can chat through Instagram as well. Or you can email me. I might not see the email. I'll probably see the Instagram before I see an email. So thank you so much for joining me. And I hope you have a lovely week of crochet. Thanks for stopping by.